So I want to talk to you about why real estate agents' income is so consistent. This is a business, if you have a spouse or significant other, it can drive them crazy. They'll ask you, how is it possible you made $12,000 in February and then you didn't get another check until May or June? How is that possible? I'm going to show you how that's possible. So why income is not consistent, and it's so simple. Once you see this demonstrated, you'll get it. So this is what we call this chart here, the activity-result relationship. So I'm going to show you some activities. Level of activity is on this, the upside here, and then this is time. What happens in 30 days, 60 days, 90, and so forth. So here's what happens in real life. So let's say you just started in the business, or you just started with us, or whatever. And what we're going to find is your level of activity is going to be pretty high, meaning you're doing your B time, you're doing the things that you need to do, and your level, this is the red dots, your activity level. And so what you're going to find in about 45 days, 30 to 45 days, your results, and this will be results, the results will follow. And it kind of goes like this, where they cross. Now, what's a result? Might be a listing, it might be a sale, it might be, could be more appointments and so forth, but usually a result is a transaction is happening. So this is where you are reaping the rewards of all this calling and everything else you're doing. And so this is where you're feeling really, really good. My God, this business, I can really do this. I'll never forget, I think it was my third transaction when it really hit me. I think, God, I think I can really I think I can make money at this. but that was the truth. But I was pretty consistent with my activities. So what happens to most of us is you get up here and you've got listings and sales and so forth, and you're pretty happy. What happens to your activity?
C takes over because of the tasking in the timeline.
Say again?
C takes over because of the tasking of all the...
Sometimes that happens. And so what I see all the time is that they're up here. They've got all this good stuff going on. They're making money and so forth, but all of a sudden they quit the activity that got them there. So they're down here, and what do you think happens? 30, 45 days later, their activity or their results are following that line. So down here, you start thinking, oh my God, I'm not making any money, this is terrible, what's going on? And so you go to your manager, Rich, or somebody, and we look at your activity and we see it's way down here. So next thing you know, we get your activity way back up here, and just like clockwork, that's going to follow. So what happened? This is... I don't know about you guys. Wells Fargo wants my mortgage payment on the first of the month. They don't want a story. They don't want to hear, well, my level of activity was low last month, or this. No, they just send the money, dude. So this is what happens. So if you understand your level of activity, again, that's all these calls I'm recommending you making, all that B time activity, then if you keep, but just remember, this results is going to follow that line. The way you prevent the ups and downs in this business. We've all heard about, what is it, riding high in April, shot down in May. I mean, that's the up and down in this business can drive spouses crazy for sure, but it really drives you crazy too, because you always wonder, where's my next deal coming from? Here's the answer. Maybe I'll do this in green. If you keep your activity this, what was the red line there, you know, it'll be up and down, but you keep that fairly consistent, you're going to have, your business is going to be very consistent. It's just going to follow that. And this is where you're getting checks every month. And maybe you were getting a check on the 15th and the 30th or whatever. You can get a check on the 15th and the 30th here if you just put a transaction together every couple weeks. Now, how do you get one every couple weeks? We have lots of agents in our company doing that. But they are very consistent with their activities. And so if you're consistent, then your income is going to be consistent, and you're going to get away from this gyration of up and down and up and down. It's just, it's a hard way to live. And so these are the people, most of the, I say most, over 50% of the agents in the RealTrax MLS, 16,000 agents, most of them only did 2 or 3 transactions last year. Now, where the top agents did 50, 60, 70. So what's the difference? Now, certainly there's a skill level difference, but what happened is, if you were going this up and down route, you're only going to get 3, 4 deals a year. And that's not enough money to be in this business. You've got to make more money. I mean, it's hard to live in anywhere in America, but certainly in the greater Nashville area, you need to have $70,000, $80,000, $100,000 worth of income, and if you've got a bigger family, you probably need more than that. But the way you can do that is just be consistent. You know, I know my green line here, but if you're consistent with that, you're going to have a sale a month for sure, and you'll probably have 17, 18 over the course of the year. Now, as you get better and better and get more experience, then these numbers will even increase. That's when you'll get to the 25, 30, 40 transactions a year. That's your Stacy Springer, for example, in this office, Paul Nail, some of our top agents, they're doing those kind of numbers, and so you wonder, well, what are they doing that I'm not doing? It's right here. They're very consistent with their activities. And that is the difference. So if you're back to our original point from the prior class about why agents fail, if you'll spend your time in those B-time activities, meaning prospecting, where you're generating leads, that's where the money is made. Because it leads to the A-time, which is face-to-face, and if you do that enough times, if you can get consistent, a couple hours a day of B-time will change your life. Questions? Did I explain it so well? There's no questions. You get it? So it's really, really a critical component. So you've got to be able to, the consistency is the name of the game. And, you know, we talk about habits. I defy you to go, I go to McDonald's every morning. I'm just hooked on Diet Coke. Go to McDonald's every morning, and it drives me crazy to get all those receipts in my side pocket and so forth. It just junks up my car, and I hate it. And every time I say, no receipt, please, they always say, okay. And I'm not exaggerating. 70 to 80% of the time, they hand me my receipt and my change or whatever it is. Why is that?
I know why McDonald's. This is probably corporate rule.
Well, but if you tell them you don't want a receipt,
No, it's not.
if you don't want a receipt, I know what it is. It's habit. They're sitting at that drive-through for 3 or 4 hours at a time, and they're taught to hand that receipt and a change, or give me my card back or whatever. And it's powerful how that habit is. Imagine if we can get into those habits where you're doing your business development and you're prospecting on a consistent basis, you'll be unstoppable. But if you don't get into that habit, it's also easy to get into the habit, again, going back to our prior class, where you have that sea time activity where you're doing things that are maybe not that productive, and if that becomes your standard or what you're willing to spend your time there, then you're not going to have the results you want. You're going to be focused on, and that's where you're going to get your 2 or 3 sales a year, and wondering, why am I doing this? This is hard. It becomes is less hard, proper English. It becomes much less hard if you get the experience of making those calls, like Denise was talking about. Make the calls, and after you do 100 of them, I had a coach recently, a Coldwell Banker coach, and he said an agent needs to make 209 calls before they get comfortable. Now, how in the heck 209? I don't know. But this guy's got a big office in Dallas area, a big Coldwell Banker office, and he is a master at training people, making calls and so forth. I don't know where the 209 comes from, but I believe him, because he has an army of people that are newer in the business making great money. And so if it's 100, 209, we don't care what the number is, but get those calls made, and you're going to get better and better and better. It'll be comfortable. And if we're successful at helping you do that, my job is to have you feeling guilty, almost guilty, if you're not making your calls every day. It worked. We didn't give her the credit last week, but she had another 31 calls 2 weeks in a row that people that she made talked to. So this is so important. So if you want to have a consistent income, it's consistent prospecting, consistent business development, and there's nothing that's going to make up, there's no shortcuts to success. So do a little bit more of that, and you're going to have a very, very successful real estate career. Thank you.